For centuries, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem has stood at the center of faith, history, and controversy. Racked by earthquakes, fires, and attacks, by the year 1009, it was left in ruins. Yet this place is revered as the very location of Jesus Christ's tomb, a place millions of pilgrims have visited in hope and awe. After being rebuilt, generations of scholars and believers alike continue to wonder, was this really Christ's final resting place, or simply a legend built on centuries of tradition? The answer would not come from legend alone. It would take the tools and insights of modern science to probe the truth. Something that began to unfold in the year 2016, when the ancient tomb underwent a major restoration. It was then that science and faith would meet in a way the world had never seen before. According to the New Testament, Jesus' tomb was constructed close to where he was crucified, and within the tomb it was believed not only his body, but also the cross might have been placed. The actual site, however, had remained a mystery, covered and recovered, destroyed and rebuilt, layer upon layer, for centuries. Records showed that the church as it stands today was originally constructed in the year 326 by the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, whose mother, Helena, led a search for the site centuries before. When she believed she had found it, Constantine had a magnificent church built above what was believed to be Jesus' burial place. That church endured centuries of turmoil. Its bell tower collapsed in the year 1545, and in the years that followed, Franciscan friars undertook restoration and cleaning. In the year 1555, to protect the sacred site from countless visitors, the monks laid a marble slab over the limestone tomb, hiding what lay beneath from both pilgrims and prying eyes. For hundreds of years, the true nature of what was under that marble remained a mystery. By the time the modern restoration began in 2016, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was under the shared custody of three different churches: Roman Catholic, Armenian Apostolic, and Greek Orthodox. Every decision required consensus, and that was never easy. In fact, a simple cedar ladder has sat unmoved above the entrance of the church for more than 2.5 centuries because the three groups could not agree on whether it should be moved. Even so, they recognized the desperate need for restoration. The building was deteriorating, and the time to act was now. The last intervention to keep the burial shrine, or edicule, from crumbling had been made during British colonial rule in the year 1947. Metal scaffolding was placed around the structure to keep it from falling. Decades later, when archaeologists and church leaders agreed to a new restoration, the project included something unprecedented: a scientific excavation of the very place known as Jesus' tomb. Biblical archaeology, a field devoted to seeking historical truth behind stories from Scripture, had evolved greatly. Now, with advanced technology, scientists hoped they could find proof that Jesus' body had truly lain there, beneath the centuries of marble and dust. But after so many disasters and reconstructions, could the original tomb have survived? Excavation began slowly. The restoration took 10 months. Molds and water damage were meticulously removed, and new support was inserted to strengthen the ancient walls. When it was finally time, the team gathered to witness a moment they had dreamed about for their entire careers. For 64 hours, they carefully removed the marble slab that had covered the burial chamber since the time of the Franciscan monks in the 16th century. What they found underneath astonished everyone. There was not just one slab, but a second, older slab of gray marble. Taking a closer look, the research team gasped. A cross was carved into the surface of this ancient stone. Was this the mark of the Crusaders? Was it scarred during the conquest of Jerusalem centuries before, or was it even older? To find out, scientists took samples of rock from the tomb for analysis. Archaeologist Martin Biddle led efforts using advanced thermal imaging, robotic cameras, and a technique called optical stimulated luminescence, abbreviated as OSL. This technique could determine when the burial chamber had last been exposed to sunlight. It took 1 year of painstaking work, carried out in 2 separate laboratories to get the answer. The results stunned even the most skeptical experts. The rock samples showed that the chamber had last seen daylight in the 4th century, exactly the era when Constantine built his church over the sacred site. This discovery was confirmed by the chief scientific coordinator, Antonia Maropoulos, who declared that Constantine the Great was indeed responsible for covering the original bedrock of Christ's tomb with marble slabs. Even those who doubted the authenticity of the church's location began to change their minds. Renowned Israeli archaeologist Dan Bahat, who once questioned whether the church was truly built over Jesus' resting place, now admitted there was no other site with such weighty claims. The new evidence from the tomb was more than tradition. It was science confirming the story handed down for nearly 17 centuries. For archaeologists, scientists, and the faithful, the opening of Jesus' tomb in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was not just an act of restoration. It was a moment when the veil of history was briefly lifted, revealing truths buried under centuries of conflict, faith, and hope. The story of the tomb is not just about a place, but about the deep yearning for answers that every generation shares, a search for proof that can both challenge and strengthen belief. This groundbreaking discovery did not end the debates, nor did it silence every skeptic, but it did bring the world closer to understanding one of history's greatest mysteries. For a brief moment, the past and present stood side by side, and the secrets of an ancient tomb shone with new light, illuminating not just a single chamber, but the enduring power of faith and science to shape our understanding of history.